Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to our next episode of Masters of Product. Our topic for today is, can human skills, or what kind of human skills can AI replace, and what kind of skills can AI not replace? To help us with that conversation, in the call today, I have my good friend David Pereira. David has been part of our show a few times before, so I'm glad to have him back. David is a CPO advisor at 100x PM. He has spent nearly 2 decades helping product teams cut through the noise, focus on what truly matters, and build great products that drive real impact. As for me, I'm your host, Mustafa Kapadia. I help product organizations use AI to become faster, more innovative, make better decisions, and ultimately build better products. You can learn about me and my services at echo-point.com. David, welcome to the show. This is going to be great. You and I spent a lot of time talking about this, and I figured, you know what, we should just do it on camera.
Glad to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Listen, there's a lot of talk, if it's okay with you, we're just going to jump in. There's a lot of talk about AI replacing PMs, AI replacing humans. There's a lot of fear in the industry, right? And some of it is really driven, well, in my opinion, it's really driven by, in many ways, fear and anxiety. Right? A lot of people attribute things that AI can and cannot do, even though that's not where AI is. So a lot of it is extrapolation. But the reason I wanted to talk to you today is simply because you wrote an article probably about a few weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, about there are certain key skills that it's impossible for AI to do. It's only a human skill, right? Do you want to just do a quick summarization of what you said, and then we can go from there, right? Of what are the key capabilities, especially related to product management, that AI cannot replace?
Sure. Yeah, so what I was thinking about, I have been talking to a lot of people before writing this article.
Yeah.
And many people ask me, like, how do we equip our people to use AI? How do we do this? How do we start empowering PMs to do more with AI, designers, and so on?
Yeah.
I say you can, but there are some foundations you need to have in place. And I started observing certain organizations, and the first on the summer of this is like the first thing. If everyone is shipping faster, who is thinking better? Who is thinking
100%.
sharper? So that was the principle I started thinking, because when everyone has access to the same tools,
Yeah.
the tool is not an advantage anymore. And there are some things that is an advantage, like who you are, how you think, how you structure that, and so on.
Yeah.
And one thing that I have been seeing in organizations that no one tries to address this is misalignment. So how can you do that with AI? How can AI solve misalignment? I don't believe it can solve. And last week I was in London, Canvas 26. It was an event of Miro. And Andre, the CEO, opened the event with, I would say, he dropped the bomb there saying, AI amplifies misalignment. I said, oh, that is something. I was not thinking in that direction. I was thinking AI doesn't solve misalignment, which I still stand for, but amplifies. It is true, because more people work in silo, they create their agents, they do their stuff, and then there are more people running in multiple directions. And this is what is happening.
You know what, I agree. I think there's multiple misalignments. So just building on that idea, there's multiple misalignments. There's misalignments between product and engineering, because both of them are running at 2 different speeds, or both of them are optimizing for something else. There is misalignment between product and designers, right? Because there's always this confusion about what does a product person do and what does a design person do, but not about how they can actually work together. Because the traditional handoffs are getting blurred. And then within the team itself, there's misalignments, because you're absolutely right, because a PM can now go and do X, Y, and Z so much faster. He or she doesn't have to wait for anybody else. And they feel that that's empowerment. But they're running in different directions, which is great. But now when you take on you put on the CPO hat, and suddenly all you see is a lot of energy being wasted, because people are running in all different directions, and then somebody has to come in and corral them and have them focus, right?
Yeah.
So I agree with the point that it's not just creates misalignment, but it does make it worse than better.
Yeah. And then what happens? Like, there's what we can do and what we should do.
Yeah. Well, that's the classic PM problem.
Yeah. And now this problem becomes even more important because, well, engineering somehow is not the bottleneck. You can do many things.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you should do. And that's when it lands the other part, which I doubt AI can replace, which is the critical thinking.
Yeah.
Not everything is well structured in data that AI has access to all beautiful data sets and everything and context and so on. No.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. I think with the critical thinking part is really, in my opinion, the key skill a product team has to have moving forward. Right?
Yes.
Because your job as a product manager is to build, what we were just talking about a few minutes ago, is to build the right thing. And that means understanding a lot of different factors and then making a decision and making a bet. Right? But that does not, you cannot outsource that to AI, right? You can use AI to help you think better and make better decisions, but AI cannot do it for you.
Exactly. And you need to think like AI will speed things with high confidence. It may have a disclaimer, not everything is right, so you need to double check, but we just ignore this disclaimer.
Yeah.
The other day, like my mom, she likes an Austrian dish. It's very hard to pronounce. Probably I'm going to say that wrong. It's called Grustel. And she had this in German, and she wanted to know, she had this in Germany here, and she wanted to know the recipe. And I used ChatGPT and so on. And there were some complex ingredients there for the sauce. And the sauce is a dark sauce. This is a farmer dish from the Austrian Alps. It's very fat. It's very good. It's like potatoes, meat, and egg, and some
sounds
sauce.
Yummy.
Yeah, it is good. But then, why am I saying that? Because it can happen funny things. Some of the ingredients would be hard to find for my mom in Brazil. And then I said, okay, how do I make this dark sauce in a simple way? This is too complex. My mom's not going to do it. ChatGPT just said, well, if you want to make the dark sauce in a simple way, just take a sip of coffee and just throw it there. It will be dark anyway. I was reading that about a sip of coffee. The sauce doesn't have anything to do with this taste. And then I said, yeah, so I should just go. And then I said, are you sure? And ChatGPT, yeah, I'm sure it will be dark and so on. It will look like the original. And I said, yeah. And you see, this is something very simple. You have information about how to cook that, precise the ingredients, and could think like which would be a good replacement. Came up with something completely nonsense. Now imagine what is happening with software development, product development.
I agree. I mean, this is the conversation that we had earlier, right? That there is the instinct in IT and engineering is to build these autonomous pipelines, right? Where you put in requirements and boom, at the end you get code, right?
Yes.
And I think that works well if you're in software development. I think what I see happening is that same mindset is trying to be replaced on the product side, in which you come up with some kind of nebulous idea, and then suddenly it goes through, I think what you were saying is it goes through some kind of a prioritization matrix. Maybe it validates with a synthetic user. Then it takes in, then it creates a PRD, and then it takes a prototype, and then boom, at the end, you get a PM who just takes a look at it, approves it, and you're done, right? And so people are using that to say, oh, now I can go so much faster.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You and I have talked about this. To me, that is the absolutely worst way to use AI. Right?
Yes.
Because it just kills the critical thinking, right? Going back to your example about making this awesome dish, which, by the way, sounds fantastic without the coffee. Imagine if that was put into the pipeline that we just talked about, and the AI made one bad assumption in the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Replace one ingredient with the regular ingredient with a spit of coffee. Now, that decision that AI made without the PM being in the part of the conversation or being part of the loop is then amplified in every step of the way till they come to the prototype. And so what you end up getting, the PM is going to take a look at it, not knowing what decisions were made by AI along the way. And they're just going to take a look at it and say, oh, this sounds good. This doesn't sound good. They become, instead of being critical thinking, they're becoming approvers. And that's not, you're never going to end up getting a great product that way.
Totally.
Right?
I saw this situation in one organization. It was very interesting. One, let's say, intermediate PM created a strategy and presented to the executive team of the organization. The executive team liked how it looked.
Yeah.
And cheered on the PM. And there was a senior PM there who didn't have the strategy in a way that could be presented. The PMs just said, like, here's the context, what I know as of now, and here's where I think we can go, but I still need to double check. And then some of the execs felt annoyed, said, no, this is not the kind of conversation we want to have here. We want to have a conversation where we have an artifact that we can criticize. The interesting thing is that once someone started asking questions to the PM with the artifact, very beautiful, shiny, he had no idea what was behind that because he didn't make any of the decisions. He didn't build the thinking to get to the artifact. And the PM with empty hands had a lot of positioning, saying this might work because of this and this and this. This might not work because this and this and this. I recommend positioning here, but we need to test this before we do that.
100%. And I think that, to me, is really the difference between using AI well and using AI in which you're basically outsourcing your thinking, right? AI can create these beautiful words, beautiful artifacts. They sound very confident, right? And they are confidently wrong. But the other senior PM can have used AI in the same way to help him or her explore all of these different avenues and figure out how to make him or herself think better and think differently. Because I agree with the example you give is not an uncommon one. I see that all the time. That people get enamored by the artifact.
Yeah.
But then when they do, and by the way, they don't even have to look that deep. They just have to look 1 or 2 levels deeper. And then they realize that everything breaks down because the artifact made an assumption that you need to spit coffee in your ingredients, and they're like, what? How in the universe does that make sense moving forward, right? So I think I absolutely agree. Listen, we're way off our show notes, but that's okay. Let's go. Let's continue. I'm curious, what else do you see happening in the with the PM?
So we're talking about we're talking about misalignment. We're talking about critical thinking.
And by the way, we have one comment by Rakesh. Rakesh, thanks for the kind words. If you have questions, just shoot us a note, because we would like to make this as interactive as possible.
Great. So the third one, a little bit in a different direction, is the personal conflicts. Product is a collaborative game, and people see things differently. They collaborate differently, and with AI, they can hide. So they can just go in their bubble, start creating agents, orchestrating agents, prompt, and creating artifacts, and so on. But the real thing that pushed the needle to move forward, it is about how people collaborate and solving because you need people to move forward, and AI cannot solve your conflicts for you.
No. And I agree with you. I'll give you another example. Whenever we go into our clients and they say, well, how do you write requirements now? And I'm like, well, yes, of course you can use AI to write requirements, and there's a whole way to do that. But in addition to that, you can now write requirements by having all three people in the room. So you can have an AI process in which, quote unquote, it gives you a whole bunch of options. But then you can have a PM, a designer, and an engineer sitting on the table, reviewing those options together, and then deciding which option to go to. So if you want to brainstorm features, you have a brainstorm feature prompt. They fire it up with the right context, right? And then actually agreeing on the context itself is alignment. So context is, what problem are we solving? Who are we solving for? What is the outcome that we need? Right? Going back to first principles. Just the fact that the three people in the room are talking about the right context to feed into AI is alignment.
Yes.
Right? And now when AI spits out 10, 20, 30 features, them picking the right features together is also alignment.
Yes.
So instead of AI doing this thing in which PM designs or comes up with the features and then runs it or then builds a prototype, it doesn't work, because eventually you need to bring everybody else on the board.
And now we are adding complexity. We are not simplifying the game. I'm gonna pick something back from this conference I attended, which we used to have one type of collaboration, human to human. Now what we have is human to human, human to agents, and agents to agents.
Yes.
So what happened is, without transparency, you simply don't know what is happening. And decisions are being made without everyone involved. And you don't need everyone to agree, but you want people to support, to be aware, so you can move in a unified direction. And today, this is not happening.
Yes, I agree with you. And I think actually you bring another great point. So I agree, human to human has to happen. Human to AI has to happen. Agent to agent has to happen. And each one of those collaborations has a very different feel to it. Right? And agent to agent is really brand new. I was at a roundtable a few weeks ago, and they were talking about what does the new PRD look like. And I'm like, you know what? You need to actually now write a PRD for two different audiences. Not just the humans who need to consume it, but you need to write it for AI, because the way AI consumes it is very different than the way humans consume it. AI is very precise. And it's, it's not a lot of bloat. Humans need a lot of bloat to understand concept. And you want to do it that way, because if you're going to use that PRD eventually to build it and feed it into some type of a design doc, which will eventually turn into a prototype, then you need to be very careful how you write it for the AI, because AI is going to pick those things up.
Yes.
And so that's a whole different way to do it, right? And we're seeing it even the way, forget about writing PRDs. I'm actually seeing it even now with the way people are writing articles, right? Because you and I write a lot. And I don't know if you've ever experimented with this, but the new strategy is that you write an article, but then at the end of the article, you write an FAQ. And the FAQ is there for the AI engine to pick up.
Okay.
Right?
Huh.
And that's simply because you want to be found on the LLMs. Now, I haven't experimented with it, but it's something that I'm keeping my mind on. But it is something in which you want to be able to have some kind of a tagging system for AI to do it. Going back to your earlier point, your audience changes. Right?
Yes.
So
that's very interesting. And I think connected to this part of writing the document, who you are writing for, one of the aspects I don't see AI solving is the authenticity.
Oh, yes.
So what you stand for and who are you actually? Sometimes I fear that we are renouncing who we are very easily. We're talking just about writing. A lot of people now, you can just open LinkedIn and you see there a lot of people just dumping content
100%.
with AI. A lot.
Yeah. I mean, AI slop is becoming so hard, right? It's becoming, I mean, there was always a wave of content on LinkedIn or whatever platform you go to.
Yeah.
And now it has exponentially increased because it's just so much easier to write something. And actually, that's a great point too, because the ones that do the best, the articles that get picked up, the point of views that get picked up are the kind of people who have really thought deeply about who their audience is and what is that they're trying to communicate and what is it that you're trying to solve for. And the more narrow you are, the better your article will resonate with that audience. Right?
Yes, that's true.
In many ways, that's the same thing in product management. And so the person who's writing a great article may use AI to make a great or better article, but all that context that they have about them and the industry and the audience and so on and so forth, that has to come from them, right? There's no way that you can put so much context into AI that is going to know everything. It's just not possible, right?
But then it comes to the point we love shortcuts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, everyone wants a shortcut. Who don't want to get to the result without the effort? And I'm seeing things like that. The promises getting quite some traction. To tell you two, I saw recently an Instagram influencer shared like, here's how I put an app live in 5 minutes. You can do the same. Put the app live in 5 minutes. This post had millions of impressions, millions.
Yeah.
And I look at that, yeah, you can, but doesn't mean anything. So sure, you can just do it.
Yes.
And I saw another that got thousands of reactions on LinkedIn, and it was like this. How PMs create artifacts now have changed forever. You can create a strategy 7 minutes, roadmap 5 minutes, and the backlog in 3 minutes. write guide in the comments and I will send it to you. Thousands of comments. People just, I was looking at that. I said, like, what is happening? Like, you can't get people behind any kind of strategy in 7 minutes, and you can't even
No.
get to the thinking behind it 7 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, you know this as well. For me, the hardest part when I was running product organizations was for us to define the problem, right? Which is just a fancy word for strategy, right?
Yeah.
Because understanding the problem deeply is really what matters. Because once you understand the problem correctly, the rest becomes much easier. Right? I think there was a famous quote, and I think it was Einstein. He said that, listen, I spend 90% of my time thinking about the problem and 10% of the time thinking about the solution.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And that to me is critical, especially when you have this ability, like you said earlier, in which engineering can build anything you want them to build. Right? But is it the right thing to build? Are we actually solving people's problems? Which I think is, I actually don't think people have thought that through yet. They're all thinking about the shortcut, about how I can streamline whatever I'm doing in the least amount of time possible without thinking about the impact of quality, right? And I think this is why the danger of outsourcing your thinking to AI is so real. Because, you know, they'll put in a strategy, it looks good, I'm done. 7 minutes is too long. Why even 7 minutes? You should do it in 2.
Yeah. And this is what can change in the positive way if we put our energy properly. Because I was, for example, right now just preparing a lesson for a boot camp and thinking about past, present, and the future of how teams do refinement.
Yeah.
In the past, for sure, teams would spend a lot of time with estimates because they want to know, like, what is the estimate of whatever they are going to do, because they need to choose what to do.
Yes.
They don't have capacity for everything. Present is a little bit of a mixture. We're still learning. But in the future, what I believe is the following. We are going to choose what we're going to do. So we're going to use refinement events to clarify the problem, ensure that we understand this, and we will choose what makes sense to solve it. We're not going to talk about estimates. We're going to talk about investment, saying like, all right, let's invest 2 weeks in this. It makes the most sense. And let's see how far we get in 2 weeks. With AI, like helping us create the right solution, we can create something of relevance in a shorter time.
Yes.
But the thinking is still slow, and that part should be like understanding the problem, talking to real people, because AI is good at reading the transcript, but AI cannot read when people are moving on the chair, when they are like this. What does it mean?
Yeah, I agree. In fact, you just we're almost at the point in which with AI you can do fast, but you also need to use AI to think slow. Right? Because then the more you think slow and the more you think better, then the faster you can move at the back end.
Yes.
Right? And I agree with your example, because I do think that organizations, really the ones who know how to use AI well, will get to this point in time in which they're looking at it as investments. Like, I think this is a good idea to invest in for 2 weeks. Right? Let's pursue it. Let's see how far we can get. And then based on the data, we can decide if we want to go further or we stop it. Right?
Yeah.
To me, that's a smart way of using AI, as opposed to the earlier way in which let's just build an autonomous pipeline and we'll put the idea in and we'll get a prototype and then we're done. Right?
And I had a conversation with a CEO some time ago, and a challenge, because the CEO asked me, like, I don't want to prioritize. So how do I get the teams to deliver more? I said, what is the message you're sending to the team? Do you want to send the message that everything
Build
matters
anything?
equally? Should build anything? She said, no, I want the team to deliver more with what we have right now.
Yeah.
I said, but your role as a CEO, the only thing you have to do is, and protect, is tell us where we should go and where we should not. So I need you to tell what is important and what is not. Because if we say that throwing spaghetti on the wall is fine, then we're gonna get a problem.
And then yeah.
And it's not
Yeah.
about delivering faster. It's about choosing better and solving problem. I would say solving problems faster is good, but some things still apply. Some things like stop starting, start finishing. So these
Yes.
things
Yes.
still are
I agree.
relevant.
Yeah. I think here's the thing. To be fair, a lot of people are trying to solve an old problem in which everything was slow.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And engineering was slow, and product by definition was tied to the cadence of engineering.
Yes.
Right? So in that world, just getting an idea all the way to getting it out in hands of a customer was a very slow process.
True.
And so people are still trying to solve that problem. And they're trying to solve that problem by putting in the fact is that, well, AI just does the execution better across the field. Right? AI can write code, AI can write PRDs, AI can do testing, blah, blah, blah. So I can just give AI and it's going to shrink my time, which is fair, right? But what they have not, or they're slowly realizing, I should say, is that AI has different uses in different parts of the life cycle.
Mm-hmm.
In software development, it is about speed and quality. In product development, it really is about better thinking and
Yes.
speed. And so because it's better thinking and speed versus just getting code out the door, the way you use AI is very different, right?
Yeah, what I'm seeing now is like idea to output. It's one prompt. I have an idea, prompt, output. But what is happening is like between your idea and an output, there are a lot of things that you need to do. One of them is deciding if you want that output.
Yes.
First,
there's micro decisions. I 100% agree. Yeah.
yes, and this is the human skill that is very important. First,
Yeah.
is this idea in comparison to all the other ideas you have, the one that you should consider investing time? That's the first thing. Let's look at this. And then like, all right, so if I am to invest time in this idea, what are the unknowns that I already know? So you assume people are going to use this, so on and so on. And then you can still ask yourself, what is the best way of running an experiment?
100%.
And many times it's not about building. It's not about at all building. And once you start getting into the unknowns, you will really understand what you are after.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree with you. In fact, AI can help you uncover more unknowns
Yes.
you may never have thought about, right? And so when I think about using AI to make better decisions, that's a great example. Because it's not just about writing the PRD faster or how you write PRDs, because I think even that, to me, I think PRDs should not be written as one single document. They should be chopped up in simple things. And every part of that PRD, the human or the PM should be part of the loop, right? So number one, so that you can control the way the PRD looks and what the output is. But in addition to that, the idea is that once you do have a PRD, there's a whole bunch of hidden assumptions that we've made, and AI can uncover that. Right? you can do a red teaming exercise that could never have happened before with AI. You can take that feature set and run it through synthetic users and get their point of view on it. Or you can even have it run through your technical architecture and figure out if this is feasible or not. To me, those are good examples of using AI to help you do better and more critical thinking. Because then the output that you create, quote unquote, is better battle tested than ever before.
Yes.
Right? And I see very few PMs or product organizations use AI to help them enhance their thinking, pressure test their ideas. And a lot of them are just saying that I'm going to give one long prompt and I'm going to have it do all of these 5 or 6 steps for me. And move forward, right? And I actually think it's the complete opposite.
And then you're going to get the massive output. You will be lazy to double check.
Which we are.
Yeah, we are. That's it.
Yeah, we are. And that's just the way it is. And it's unfortunate. I also think that what we're going to do is we're at the very much early wave of people just using AI to execute faster. And I think it's only a matter of time till we realize that when we do that, we are fundamentally, as an organization, making even shallower decisions than before.
Yes, totally.
Right? Which means that ultimately what we end up giving to our customers is going to be what I call AI slopware. So think about LinkedIn. Think about LinkedIn slop, and you're going to get slopware from software. And then CPO is going to start, forget CPOs, customer is going to start complaining. The CPO is going to say, you know what, I think I need to have a better way of figuring out what goes out and what doesn't go out. Right? And then it goes back to the fundamental problem that we started talking about is, your whole job is to figure out how to build the right product, not to build a product faster.
Yeah. And this is something I am seeing a lot when I talk to C-levels, even VPs. What I hear, for example, now we can build fast, but we are struggling to activate. So customers are not engaging with our new things. And then the question is like, why? Is it a struggle activation or is something before?
Is it relevancy? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Did the customers even need that? Or it's interesting because I just, you know what? It's interesting that you mentioned that because I run a monthly roundtable for CPOs, and this was actually the exact question that they were struggling with, in which they were talking about, if we can build so much faster, are our users even going to be able to absorb it? And if they don't absorb it, then what's the point?
Then what's the point?
Yeah. In many ways, the friction that we had in the past forced us to make trade-offs and decisions. Suddenly that friction is gone, and suddenly now you can do anything. And that's not always a good thing. Or as we're finding out, that is not a good thing, right? Listen, David, we're almost out of time. There's 2 things. Number one is just any final thoughts on where you see this trend going, or things that people can do to become better or help AI make them better decision makers or help them think better. So that's number one. And I know you talked about your 100x PM cohort. And so maybe you can highlight a little bit on that one too, please.
Sure. So what I see is like how people treat AI. It may seem like I am against, but I am not. What I am is a realistic person. So AI is an amplifier. what is important is having solid foundation. So if you have foundations where you already apply critical thinking, you make decisions that help you move in an aligned direction with your people, then AI will make you better.
Yes.
But if you have misalignment, poor decision making, and you're shipping features nobody cares, AI will make you worse. It will do just more of that, but faster. It will amplify. So you need to understand where you are, so what you can do. So AI is your ally, not your enemy.
Yes. 100%. And once people know how to use AI well as an ally or as a thinking partner or a cognitive accelerator, it changes the game.
Yes.
And by the way, it changes the game not just from you, because you're going to end up. I see PMs enjoying their job more, because the reason PMs got into being a PM is because they want to build great things.
Yes.
Not just build things. And so you end up enjoying your work more, because now you can do things that you can never do before. But more importantly, you are the person who's going to then stand out from everybody else, because everybody else is going to create slop. And you're going to create something that is deep, that's defensible, that has put a lot of thought into it, and that has a greater chance of success. Right.
And now taking this as a note to the 100x PM, it all started last summer as a mastermind. I wanted to help senior product managers grow to product leaders and product leaders who just started to be confident. It was a mastermind with a 3 weeks program, transformation, and so on. And now, after running this 5 times already, people start telling me, this is an operating system, actually. Because I get the end-to-end mental models I need from strategy to measuring value, collaboration, and so on. So I adapted the program now to be the 100x PM system, because what people will get is the ways of thinking that will help them create value. And we talk about the hard things, like how do you do this when your organization has a poor operating model? How do you collaborate with hard stakeholders, the politics of products, and how do you create the foundations to create value? All of the things you're saying about AI being an amplifier, the program helps you to create the foundation and grow, and so on. So that's what it's all about.
I do think that is a great place to focus on, because I think that is what is critically needed the most, right? Is the mental model and the thinking that goes behind how do you operate in this crazy environment. And I didn't realize that you'd actually you already ran 5 cohorts. I know you just started, so this is fantastic. David, like always, every time I talk to you, both online and offline, I always enjoy our conversations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will have to have you back as well, because of course, 6 months from now, a year from now, things are going to change.
Oh yeah, they will change. They are always changing. Fast
that is the nature of our business.
Yes, that's it.
But thank you once again, and we will reconnect. Yeah.
Thank you, for sure.